we're going to talk about Genesis, which has shuffled its deck once again. Genesis Trading has lost its newly appointed Chief Risk Officer, Michael Patchen, after just 3 months on the job, according to a person close to Patchen. Patchen was brought into Genesis at the end of July when the firm's CEO, Michael Morrow, stepped down amid a wave of job cuts. There's a lot of other executives who also were shuffled around within Genesis. Genesis was notable for being a large lender in the space that was hit very, very heavily by Three Arrows Capital bailing on all its assets that were due to so many different lenders out there. And then that also ties back, of course, to the Terra Luna debacle, which Three Arrows Capital was heavily invested in. As a disclosure, CoinDesk is owned by DCG, which also owns Genesis. Zach, I'm going to throw this one up to you, get your take on this story.
Yeah, a bit of an exodus over at Genesis, right? These are the ramifications. This is the fallout. These are the people who are losing jobs or are unable to retain jobs because the environment at some of these formerly foundational pillars of the crypto economy have been significantly compromised in the last 6 months as the great deleveraging, or whatever you want to call it, has unfolded. So that this is likely maybe another part of that story. Obviously, this is roughly unconfirmed, but probably on good authority, that this is happening is likely stems from the current situation over at Genesis and the fact that they're having a rough go of it. So the fact that this was a quick stint for this particular individual at this role, I think probably speaks to the bigger situation at Genesis, but of course, I can't know that for sure. I'm going to toss this over to Jen for her thoughts.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Will, Zach, you said it, 3AC contagion continues. The CEO stepped down in August, right? And we have Patchen in this role for 3 months. His resume, when it comes to risk, is quite lengthy. It just makes me kind of beg the question, what is going on? Like, either he had some really out there takes on what was going on and tried to make change and the rest of the executives didn't agree with him, or it's just like a huge mess behind the scenes. I would love to see some reporting from what's going on behind the scenes at Genesis. Maybe Sam, you can get some insiders to speak to CoinDesk to find out what's happening, because I think when you see people join companies, when I'm at a loss for words here. When you see people join companies when they're going through this and they leave 3 months after, it kind of speaks to disaster.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump in really quick. I don't have any special reporting into Genesis. We've got way better reporters who figured out, the original scoop that a bunch of money was lost with the implosion of 3AC. But for some reason, I don't know what the connection is, but this reminds me of a story that I saw last week, or I think it might have even been earlier this week, where there was this former Celsius, which we know was maybe a Ponzi scheme, maybe not. I don't know. It was like a vault that you put your money in, and it wasn't, going up because of the reasons why they said it was going up. Anyway, a Celsius executive went over to JP Morgan as their director of crypto regulatory policy. So one other side of this whole executive discussion to me is looking at these folks who were there when the implosions happened, unlike the individual that we're talking about when it comes to Genesis, following those folks and seeing whether they fail upwards or whatever, what have you, where are they going? That's also something that I think we as crypto reporters need to do a better job of tracking and, synthesizing for our readers. So why is this person going to JP Morgan if they were at Celsius? I have no idea. Anyway,
we asked Zach, that same question.
Oh yeah, okay.
We did.
I promise.
We're just here for the lulls. You're like, why is this happening? And we're just like, that shit
we were
is
like,
funny.
why is this happening?
I got the fresh energy. I'm new to all these stories. Okay.
I'm taking it down to you, Will. Will, riff on this. What do you got?
Yeah, no, I'm just interested what the long-term implications are. So one job loss tragedy for sure. I'm wondering why he moved out so quickly. To me, that just speaks to the state of the books at Genesis. You bring someone in, the chief risk officer, to fix the situation, and maybe it's not fixable. Maybe they were doing a bad job in the midst of trying to restructure the company after losing all these funds. Maybe there's stuff we don't know about, right? It could be anything under the sun when someone chooses to leave a job so quickly and in this sort of situation. But I think if you're looking at the larger lending market, it's still in shambles. BlockFi, we have no resolution on. Voyager Digital, we still have no resolution on. Celsius continues to be in restructuring. There is a Wall Street Journal article just coming out yesterday talking about how Celsius and Core Scientific, one of the largest Bitcoin miners out there, are in Chapter 11 court right now. Those are just three off the top of my head, but you could keep going down. There's even more. And when's the last time we talked about the Roger Ver and that really small Bitcoin lender out there that had that dispute back in like May or June? We don't know about these things. And these lending markets, they're going to take a very long time to unravel, very long time to make people whole, if at all. And I think this is probably the deepest and worst part of the bear market. This is really what wrecked retail. 20% interest rates lured all these folk in. They put Bitcoin up. They tried to get this interest back because they didn't know how to token farm. They didn't want to be involved with anything that was too technical, and they got wrecked. They all got wrecked. And if anything is going to set the industry back from getting back into a bull market in the next few years, it's going to be this lending market. I think this story just speaks to it, how deeply and messed up all these lending firms are. You walk in, 3 months later, you have to leave because seemingly not repairable. That's a pretty tough situation to be in.